We want to go ahead and enhance as usual. So we're actually the opposite of what you were. Okay, good afternoon, folks. Once again, it's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Biden confidential. Is this a score for President Trump? That is the title of this video. As you may know, classified documents, confidential material has now been found in the possession of number 46, President Biden. So we have to ask ourselves, now that classified information, classified documents have been found in possession of President Biden, is this a score for President Trump? Make no mistake about it, the liberals, folks on the left, the Democrats went ballistic at the notion that Trump would have had the nerve to leave the White House and keep documents in his possession. Here comes Vice President Biden. He's been out of office since 2017. Trump got inaugurated in January of 2017. So as of January 2017, Biden became a regular citizen. Yet he was still in possession of said documents for a host of years. So we have to ask the question, is this some form of a victory for President Trump? Because we know his entire home in Florida, southern Florida, Mar-a-Lago, was raided by authorities. So is this going to lead to some form of victory for President Trump? Because at the end of the day, there's no to go after Trump without folks suggesting that there be some form of hypocrisy. So what do you guys? Straight to the comments. My God, I miss Trump, says Duke. You're not the only one. There are many of folks I get on my lives. As I always make it clear, despite the fact that I lean left, this is a MAGA-friendly program. I do not ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. The fact that you may disagree with the host doesn't mean a damn thing. Give you plenty of time in the box to state your point without any fear of censorship. So is this a victory for President Trump? How can they continue the prosecution against Trump with this Biden issue hanging in the balance? Seems like it would be a difficult task at this point. And a lot of folks were counting on it, particularly folks on the left, counting on that to be one of the biggest prosecutions of Trump, which would therefore prevent him from running for office as of 2024. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Get your boy likes up, 5,000. I'd appreciate it. 400 plus of you in here. So feel free to tap the screen, show your boy some love. Bring me more MAGA. It helps the algorithm. Said documents isn't even near clarity or a point. Mackie, listen, we don't know what the documents are because they are classified. We may never know whether we're talking about Trump or Biden. If the documents are classified, that means you're not supposed to see them. So can we suggest that the documents that Trump had were more classified than Biden's or vice versa? We won't know that. We will not know that. Most likely the shit will be redacted and things like that. So they both now have been caught with classified material on them. It's going to be difficult, at least in the opinion of your humble correspondent, to treat Trump one way and treat Biden another. Currently, Trump has already had a warrant served on his home. So you're going to have folks bringing that up. I mean, it's a legitimate point, whether you agree or disagree, whether you like Trump, whether you dislike him. They are being treated differently at this point. Phil says Trump refused to turn the documents over. That is why his house was raided. And you're not the only one I've heard suggest that. In fact, Biden's documents apparently were discovered by his own attorneys, and it appears as if they went to the proper channels and gave them back. Whereas it does appear as if the Smithsonian, I believe it is, or whatever the entity was that was trying to get the documents from Trump, made several attempts, and the Trump camp stated that we've given you everything we have, and it turns out they were not being truthful with that, which led to the warrant. That will all have to come out, though. That will all have to come out because right now, yes, they both have been caught with documents that they were not legally allowed to maintain. Why I suddenly care about classified documents, says Dyke Budakis. That's a hell of a name. You know, in regards to folks suddenly caring about documents and others do not, this is political, folks. This is how politics work. Expected hypocrisy. When it was only Trump with the documents, the liberals wanted the man dangling from a noose. The folks on the right wanted the man completely exonerated. Remember, all he had to do was think the documents were declassified, and that's what they were. The right was trying to essentially sweep it under the rug as if it's nothing. Now the situation is reversed. Now you have the top left-wing president with documents, and the right wants the guy hanging from the gallows, and the left is suggesting it's nothing at all. The hypocrisy in politics is everywhere, folks. As always. That's how we do it. It's totally different. Biden never flushed documents down the toilet, and he wasn't subpoenaed. No, and I agree with that, Delta, but we got to see what comes out, because whether you flush documents down the toilet, whether you were subpoenaed, if it is a crime to have the documents in your possession, it's a crime to have the documents in your possession. So it's not to say that Biden was not as egregious as Trump in what he was doing, but if it's a crime, it's a crime. I mean, you can drive 100 miles over the limit, or you can drive 20 miles over the limit. Yeah, one is considered reckless, but at the end of the day, they are both speeding. That's kind of what we're dealing with here. National Archives and Records Administration, not Smithsonian. Appreciate the correctness. Jewel got it. I knew it was an entity, not the Smithsonian. You're right, the National Archives and Records Administration. Okay, going to the box. Bridge Over. Welcome to the program. Is this a win, a victory of sorts for President Trump now that Biden has been caught with documents on him as well?
I will say that it is something that they can, try to twist in the wind and make it like, oh, but he did it. Look, I will say it's that.
Yeah.
And I say if he's found guilty, put him away. Trump first.
But you are saying if Biden is found guilty to be in possession of documents he should not have, it should be held accountable as well.
He should be indicted or impeached as well. Fair play. But yeah. Trump did it first. Put him away first.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, and I was thinking
then we have Kamala. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. But I thought of that when I was about to, thinking of looking up for this particular live stream, is that when you look at the way the constituents view their politicians, folks on the right tend to be very defensive of Trump, even when he's being indicted or accused of a crime. We don't give a shit about Biden, as you just stated. Put Kamala in there.
I care about Biden.
Go ahead.
I do care about Biden.
I'm saying we're not going to defend Biden at all costs if he got him.
No, I'm not in a cult. I'm not in a cult.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making. Same thing with Hunter Biden. Yeah, same thing with Hunter Biden. If his son is guilty, folks on the left are like, lock him up.
Any of them, they're found guilty, put them away.
Yeah,
it's nothing off my butt.
So how do you think it would happen? I mean, Biden is not necessarily known as, he don't seem like the type of guy that would do this. How do you think something like this could happen? Is it just an oversight?
I think that he was in this office while he was VP. And some people are saying, well, you don't have the right to these documents when you're VP, which is BS in my work. I mean, he has to go through the whole background. Some of the Congress get to see these documents. They get vetted to be able to see top secret documents, depending on what. I'm trying to think of a word.
There's also no guarantee that Obama did not hand him the documents. We don't know how he got them.
Right. In the I almost did your thing. The historic
National
Archives, they are just trying to get Obama's library together. That's why they want it.
Right. But if you don't suppose to have him in your possession, though, I mean, and he did have him in his possession. But here's one thing that appears to be different, is that the documents that were in Biden's possession were discovered by his own attorneys, which if they really thought he was committing a criminal act, they would have not brought it to light.
Well, and they didn't have to be harassed for a year and a half and then get gaslighted saying we don't have it. And here, even my lawyer will sign a piece of paper saying we don't have it and
Yeah.
then find them in a basement somewhere.
But in regards to Trump, do you really believe he was deliberately trying to maintain and keep documents? I mean, because we're believing that
Yes.
Trump knew he had them. Why would he do that?
Money. Everything he does is for money.
So you think Trump was trying to sell out this country's secrets for a paycheck?
Would not shock me at all.
Wow. Now that is the definition of treason, isn't it?
Yes. I think
Wow.
the
Okay.
man's a narcissist, and I think he is hurting for money. And I think he would do anything. He's gotten away with so many things in his life. He would do anything. He doesn't care. He doesn't think that he'll pay.
Well, I got to move it on, but I'll ask you this before I let you go because you said he's gotten away with so many things. Do you believe he ultimately will get away with this as well, or do you believe he'll be held accountable for it?
I think he has to be, but I don't know if he will be because I believe in accountability and I believe no one is above the law. And I think that this just tells people behind him that they can get away with this kind of stuff.
Well,
And I'm
well, in
good.
in the comments, someone addressed Mr. Starbird 5050 is suggesting that you are blinded by hate. How do you respond to
I'm not,
someone that
I don't
suggests
hate
your
Trump. I
criticism of Trump?
did one thing that he said he would do, and that he would go away after he lost. He said that. He
Who
said, if
said
I
that?
I'm going away.
You saying that Trump said that?
Yes, he did. He
I
said, if
don't
I
recall
live
it. Well,
away. He didn't go away. He keeps, you know what I believe? Because he knows he has a cult following, he has to do rallies. He has to do things to keep in their face, to keep repeating the stuff that he has said to keep the mind control over them.
all right, fair enough. Hey, is this our first time speaking?
No.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't remember the name, but good talk. I got to move it on. Appreciate you coming
Okay,
through.
good to see you. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, looking in the Democrats are the real traitors, says Kansas Luck. The entire party? You guys just, for the most part, welcome Tulsi Gabbard among your ranks. So if Democrats are the real traitors, then did you just accept a traitor into your ranks? The entire party. Wow. Looking in the comments, what does she think the Bidens have gotten away with? Well, we're talking about the fact that Biden has been now officially found to have had classified documents in his possession since he was vice president. He hasn't been vice president, folks, since January of 2017. Trump had his whole home raided. So we have to ask the question, are we treating these individuals different? That's what we're discussing today. By the way, tap the screen. Get your boys' likes up. 5,000, 6,000. There's enough of you guys in here to make that happen. This is a MAGA friendly program. Liberals are welcome nevertheless. Going back to the box. Army vet, welcome back to the program. Good afternoon, Army vet.
My brother, what's going on, man?
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So Biden is in possession of classified documents. What the hell? How do we view that versus the fact that Trump was found to be in possession?
Well, right now we're at a point that we got to see what type of documents they are, right? We don't know what level of secret documents or classified documents that he was in possession of, and about the location that they were found. Now, here's a big
Well,
difference.
we do know. We
Biden's
do know
notified of
some
the
of that.
doc. Go ahead.
Let me give you what I've heard so far. First of all, in regards to us not knowing what type of documents that he had, we won't know all of that, but we are being told he had some documents of the highest level of classified nature, like the ones that can only be maintained in a skiff, a secret, secure room. He had some of those documents, so we are hearing at least that part.
Okay, were these documents secured at his home or his private residence, or was this a government facility that these documents were in? That I'm unclear of that. But
Yeah, his
one thing I
office.
want to
They
say
were they
is
were in they were
accountability is
in his
everything.
office. Yeah, they were in his office, but whether it's secure or not, if they only are supposed to be maintained in a skiff, it doesn't matter how secure your office is. You have possession of them, you have access to them, and you're not supposed to have that. So he's in violation, no matter how we
Right.
look
I'm
at
gonna
that.
get to. I'm gonna get to it.
All right, go ahead.
Right. And I agree. I agree that if he's found to have had documents, secure documents that he wasn't supposed to have, then he needs to be held to account for it. Right. My biggest thing with this is the difference between him and Trump at this point
Right,
is Trump was found to have these documents and he denied it. He hid it, he lied for over a year. At this point, I can only say at this point, Biden's team is acknowledging that he was told by his lawyers that, hey, these documents were found and now they're dealing with it. Now, let's see if he tried to run from his responsibility as Trump is trying to run from his. If Biden owns up to it, then whatever befalls him, befalls him. You know,
right.
that's the difference between a leftist and a person on the right. Person on the right, they so far up Trump's behind that, you know, whatever he shits out, they're going to eat it. You know what I'm saying? And so
You know,
we don't
there's a
look at it the
guy
same way.
on
You know what I'm saying? I'm a
there's
leftist, not a liberal.
right. There's a guy on TikTok that wears a MAGA hat and he's actually eating shit, making a parody. You reminded me of that when you he's eating what he says something like Trump supporters, if Trump asked them to, would eat a shit sandwich. And he's eating a sandwich. I don't know what the material is, but it looks like it's actual shit. I thought it was pretty funny, but your statement reminded me of that. So at the end of the day, though, do you think this whole issue with Biden will help Trump out in any way?
No, it's not going to help Trump, but it gives the right a chance to scream and holler for the next couple of weeks on the news. You know, it'll be all over OAN, Newsmax, Fox. It'll be all on their podcast. They'll try to make a false equivalence to justify Trump's actions. Listen, if they're both guilty, then they both need to be held to account for it. That's just the bottom line. I'm not going to
So
try to hold water for Biden on anything that he does that is not just.
So at the end of the day, you believe Trump will actually face any accountability? Because if he is found guilty of what Garland or whoever the hell's over the case now, if they get a conviction by law, he cannot run for president. You think that you do you think they will meet any success in that? They will find any success in the case they're going against Trump with?
Here's the problem with taking any politician to trial on anything. All it takes is one person that is a die-hard Trumper to be on that jury. They're never going to convict him.
Yep.
All the evidence can be there, but all it takes is one person to say not guilty, and he'll walk for the time being until they can get a truly unbiased jury. And so I think that's why the Department of Justice is taking their time, because they want to have a foolproof case that they can put on trial, and hopefully they can get an unbiased jury. So I don't think they're going to rush into it, but I do think they will hand down an indictment on him. Now, whether they get a conviction or not, that's a whole nother story.
Wow. All right, fair enough, Army vet. I gotta move it on. Good talk, man. Wow. Possibly an
Yes, sir.
indictment, huh? We'll see how that goes. I'm quite interested to see if that comes to fruition. But appreciate you coming through, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yes, sir. Have a good one.
You too. All right, looking in the comments. Republicans are terrible. Terrible in what way? Fidel Castro. Always love the names. Another sham waste of money. In regards to it being a sham and waste of money, which one are you suggesting? The prosecution of Trump or now potentially going after Biden? Which one is a waste of money? It's all a setup to keep people looking at anything but the government's real agenda. Matta0917. What is the government's real agenda? You're going to tell me, because when Trump was president, he was the government. Now that Biden is president, he's the government. Are you suggesting they have the same agenda? Does Trump have the same agenda as Obama, as Bush, as Clinton, as Reagan? What is the government's real agenda? Going back to the box, it is, I cannot pronounce it, aggressive virum. We'll just to the call. Tap the screen. Get your boy up to 10,000 likes. Let's make it happen. Bring me some more MAGA to the forum. I cannot pronounce the name, so I'll let you take over.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Okay, what is the name there?
It's Agrestis Virum.
Okay, all
It's
right.
it's Latin. It just means peasant man.
Okay, fair enough. So, what do you think? Biden has been
Fancy words for peasant man.
fair enough, which to some degree we all are in the working world. So, Biden, possession of classified documents, does it help out Trump, in your opinion?
It might help him out in the fact that if they pursue prosecution of Trump, then
Which they are.
it just gives again. But if they push it and push it, I think over time it'll just kind of go to the wayside like most things do. But if it doesn't, it gives Republicans ammunition to go after Biden, which so I think it will in effect push that to the side, and they'll find something else to go after Trump
But
over.
when you say push it to the wayside, are you talking about pushing to the wayside the charges on Trump, or what's going on with Biden? What's going to the wayside?
Both the charges on Trump and looking into this on Biden.
Well, so if the charges on Trump go by the wayside, then this is indeed a big score for Trump.
Yes, I agree. I believe so.
Okay. Wow. I mean, just from your own personal opinion, before the Biden stuff came out, when they raided Mar-a-Lago, your personal opinion, do you think Trump was guilty of anything?
I think he was guilty of having classified documents. Yes,
Okay.
and
Three.
I am a Trump vote. I did vote for Trump, but it was obvious that he was guilty. What his intentions were, well, that's a different story, and nobody can really know what's in his mind.
Any guess on your side, just taking a wildest guess why he would have the documents? If you believe he truly had them, any idea? Considering where they said they were located, at a shed by the swimming pool. I mean, the man had documents all over his house. It was like going into the Playboy Mansion and finding women everywhere. Any idea,
Sure.
in your opinion, why the hell would he have these all over his crib like that?
Uh, just like those women, they're trophies.
Ouch. Yeah, I guess I can see that. But
You know,
I mean,
a man like Trump, he likes to look at what he's done. You know, they're trophies. They remind him of accomplishments or great things he did, or things that maybe he felt he made mistakes in.
yeah. That actually does make sense, but when you factor in everybody that has access to Mar-a-Lago, hell, Kanye West has been through Mar-a-Lago. It's like you got all these trophies
Yeah,
all over the place.
yeah. No,
I
I
mean,
agree. They should not have been there. Absolutely, they should not have been there, and he should be held accountable. I don't think jail time. I don't think uh, what's the word being thrown around? I can't even think of it now. But
well,
yeah,
do you
I
think you
don't.
should do you think you should prevent him from running again?
No, I don't.
Do you believe he is the best? Because you said you supported Trump. I'm assuming in 2016 and 2020. Do you believe
Yes.
Trump is the best candidate going forward for the Republican Party in 24?
Today, yes. In two
Over
years or a
DeSantis?
year and a half, today, yes. In a year and a
Wow.
half, my thoughts may change.
But right now, if it came down to DeSantis and Trump in the primary, you running with Trump.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I don't, I kind of wonder because don't do you not believe you would not get most of the same policies and legislation out of a DeSantis type candidate?
I do, but I don't think DeSantis can carry the vote like Trump can. I don't think he can bear the slings and arrows like Trump can. The Democrat
Well,
machine is
yeah, but
powerful, and I
Trump
just
is
don't, I just
bearing
don't.
Trump is bearing slings and arrows, as you state, because he throws so much mud. Trump, I agree, as folks say, they never gave Trump a chance since day one. But that didn't happen in a vacuum. I mean, when you look at what he was doing to Obama with the whole Kenya thing and stuff like, DeSantis probably wouldn't engage in that much mud. So he probably wouldn't get as many slings and arrows. You don't see that as possible at all?
No, I think he would be getting it. I think DeSantis would get the same treatment, but Trump, being of that ilk, is able to bear it and push back on it at the same level.
Fair enough. And so you believe, because Trump has a lot of detractors within the Republican Party, you believe DeSantis would have that same amount of resistance in his own party?
Not quite the same amount, but certainly some.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know. I personally, I personally believe that DeSantis would probably be fairly unifying for the Republican Party. Would he get similar amount of resistance from Democrats? Yeah, probably. But Liz Cheney's and the Mitt Romneys and the Mitch McConnells, all those folks that Trump has folks calling rhinos, I believe they would all unify behind a DeSantis candidacy. But under Trump, you're going to have a hell of a lot of right wingers, in my opinion, that are going to be resistant to that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. But the problem is those there are parts of those parties that we don't want to unify with, that have been part of the problem and part of the swamp.
Yeah.
There are those on the left and Democrat side that have great ideas that probably will never see the light of day because of the partisan politics in Washington today. And
Well,
we need
and
to get we need to
in regards to partisan politics, because you're pursuing or you're favoring Trump again, do you think that because if partisan politics is an issue, do you see Trump as a candidate going forward that could be a unifier?
no,
So
no,
partisan
absolutely not.
politics would continue.
Yes, but at a different level. Like you look at what happened with the election of the speaker recently.
Okay.
Like it kind of shook up the Republican Party, and that has a lot to do with the effect Trump had on the Republican Party. I think a lot of good things came out of that shakeup in choosing the speaker, and I think going forward, those good things will hopefully take over the Republican Party, and some of these old ways will die out and go the way of the dinosaur, like Mitch McConnell.
Well, and I understand you're not the only one that wants term limits and wants new blood, but I guess the only thing that baffles me is you're expecting a guy that'll almost be 80 years of age to bring you young, new, fresh blood. It seemed like you'd want to get rid of him too. DeSantis is barely even 50 years old. He seems to fit the bill of what you're describing.
Right, and he can have his turn right after Trump.
Assuming Trump doesn't destroy everything, I gotta move it on.
All
Gotta
right,
move it. I still can't pronounce your name. I'm gonna go with Viram, but hey, you're welcome to
there
come
you
through
go.
anytime, man. Good talk.
All right,
All
thank you.
right,
Hey, have a great day.
absolutely. You too. Look at comments. You might as well talk about your baseboards at home if you're going to talk about nothing, politics. You just happen to be in the wrong room. I say it on every broadcast. I appreciate the fact that you folks could be anywhere you want to be on social media, but the fact you're rolling with your boy, it's always an honor. If political conversations are not your cup of tea, this is indeed the wrong live stream to tune into, and I invite you to swipe and go somewhere else. Same thing with echo chambers. If you would prefer a host of Republicans all wearing red hats promoting republicanism and hating on Democrats, this is not the place to be. It is not 100% liberal all hating on Republicans. We maintain civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle. That is what we do here, and we do not censor, ban, or inhibit anyone for their free speech rights. First Amendment rights are paramount in here. So looking in the comments, That just goes to show how much corruption it is in Washington. There is a host of that. But I don't know what we could do to eliminate corruption in Washington. You could literally get rid of the entire Senate. 228 Chris, shout out to you for the hat mustache. Yeah! You could get rid of everybody in Washington, like the guy tried to do on the baseball field when there was a bunch of Congress people and he tried to come and unalive every Congress person on the baseball field or softball field. Even if you got rid of everyone in Washington and replaced them with new individuals, the corruption would continue because it is not the people. It is the laws. It is the programs that are set up, money from lobbyists, things like that, the golden parachutes they often receive. All of that's there. You don't think the next dude is going to partake in that? You could be elected to congressman or senator, and you would be equally as corrupt. You're not going to turn down all the money and shit you can get. So at the end of the day, it's not the people. It's the rules that need to be changed. Going back to the box, I will keep asking your thoughts. What is that, Dean Stevens? See you in the comments. What is the question you wanted to ask? I just saw that. And while we're doing it, we'll go right back to the box. It is awake. Awake yet? 2023. It is 2023, so we'll be awake. Dean Stevens, you said Texas. Taxes. What about taxes? No one has been called the big guy except Biden. Tennessee Tabby, in regards to 10% for the big guy, that still needs to be litigated. That case still needs to be further investigated. So we'll go with that. I'm not here to pretend like Hunter Biden is innocent, but you need to follow through with the investigation. Awake. Good afternoon.
How you doing, friend?
Doing good. Welcome back to the program. What do you think about now Biden being found in possession of classified documents? Is this a score for Trump?
I mean, I was listening to your other person in the box, and they were saying that it would be like, give the Republicans an opportunity to be like, well, we did this for Trump, so we're going to do this for Biden. But as he said, I think it's just a bunch of BS because they're just trying to bide their time, and they're doing something to definitely keep us distracted because something's going on. I'm not too sure what it is, and I know a lot of other people feel a lot of weird about what's going on, but there's definitely something going on that's not in the picture right now, and they're definitely trying to keep us distracted from what's really going on.
Well, if they're trying to keep us distracted and there's something going on, currently Biden is in control of the country. So are you saying that the liberals are promoting a bunch of BS and trying to keep us distracted?
While he's pushing out his agenda, whatever he wants to do. Because I mean, you even yourself being a liberal, you have to know that there is something definitely going on that's a lot bigger than what they're showing us right now. Something is eerie about what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, but that applies no matter what year in history you go back to. Our government has been keeping secrets of it. They've been doing that since day one. George Washington didn't tell us every damn thing. So that statement is true, but it will always apply.
That is true. That is true. I understand what you mean.
Yeah, so
It just seems a
go
little
ahead.
different this time, is all.
I don't know. I mean, whether we're talking about, the Lincoln assassination, the Kennedy assassination, the investigation around Martin Luther King, it's always different. I just do not see what is the huge significance of what's going on in 2023 versus any other time period in history. Our government has always been dishonest to the people.
Yes, it has been, and that's something that we really need to start. That's what we need to look into. We don't need to look at the other party. We don't need to look at the Republicans are doing to the Democrats or the Democrats are doing to the Republicans. We need to look at the person that shook the jar, that made this happen in the first place. Why are they pitting us against each other? Why are they making our views so diverse that we have to argue about it all the time? Why do we have to be separated all the time? That's what I don't
Well,
understand. That's what
I think we know the answer. There is personal gain in keeping people separate. If everyone united, that would probably not be really good for job security for a hell of a lot of government officials and other folks. So division, there is money in division.
Yeah, there is definitely.
So yeah, so I don't know if you'll ever get a politician. I mean, I would assume someone like Martin Luther King was truly promoting unity, and you see what they did to his ass. I don't know if you could get somebody that would do very well. I guess Ronald Reagan won 49 of the 50 electoral states. I mean, that was a pretty significant feat. But even he was considered very divisive by people on the left. So I don't know how you can unite 300 and something million people all at once. I mean, there are certain things in this country, whether it's access to firearms, access to abortion rights, and things like. You're never going to unite people on that. There's always going to be some opposition. Did I
Yeah,
lose you?
like me,
Yeah,
like personally, like me, I used to, no, I'm still
go
here.
ahead.
Like, but me
Go
personally,
ahead.
like I used to be like a hardcore man. I used like even my videos that I used to post, I used to be like, FJB, this and that. And, like within the last couple months, I've come to a realization that both sides do not have your best interest in heart with them. And they're literally, we need to do something to, I'm not quite saying abolish the bipartisan system, but we definitely need to refine it and redistinguish what that's supposed to mean for the people. Because I used to be a Democrat, honestly. I
Really?
really was.
Did you? But in
Yes.
regards to
And
you said you said you were chanting FJB. So even though you used to be a Democrat, did you vote for Trump in either one of his runs?
At the time where I could have voted in 2016, I was actually on probation, so I could not vote. But I
Okay.
definitely would have voted for him. Yes.
Right. Right. Okay. Fair enough. So, but at the end of the day, so you basically see both parties as being divisive.
Oh, very, very much so. Very much
Yeah.
so.
But if you're chanting FJB, you'd have to understand that your own statement that's about as divisive as they can come, right?
It is. It definitely is, and that's why I don't really say that. Like, once in a while, when people are getting me heated, I'm obviously going to be an ass and go right back with whatever FAD. But as of now, my particular state of mind is I think that unity is the only way that we can come out of this. There's nothing that we can do other than unifying ourselves because the government's worst enemy would be for us to unite. That is their
Yeah.
biggest fear.
I don't know if we could ever have that happen. I got to move it on, but before I let you go, and by the way, Tim notes in the comments, appreciate that paper crane. Shout out to you, appreciate that love. Awake. So when you think about politicians, I mean, let's obviously you made your statement on Trump. We know how you feel about Biden. Can you think of any politician, hell, a celebrity, anybody that might be able to somewhat unify this country?
Well, if I were to say Johnny Cash, but that guy's gone. No, but really, I mean, if I really thought if I really
Wow.
thought hard and I had to pick somebody to unify us all, it would literally be somebody that is nothing to do with politics. It would be somebody that is a true-blooded patriot, that is not a Democrat or a Republican, that just strictly loves this country for what it represents and what our fellow Americans have done to sacrifice to give these people that have the right to talk and make all these comments about stuff. That freedom that the people fought through, the people that love and love that kind of freedom. One of those people, I don't know who exactly, but one of those people.
Yeah, that could be a hell of a challenge to locate. But I appreciate you coming through. I gotta move it on, man. Good talk.
Always
All
good to
right,
be here.
absolutely a pleasure. Not much of a Democrat then, says Dyke Boot. I don't get that one. The Dems in Congress are united. Yeah, but they're not united with the other half of the country. The whole country obviously is not Democrat. You are correct. They behind what was the guy that has taken Nancy Pelosi's spot as the minority leader now of Congress. I cannot think of his name right now, but yeah, they're very united. He got 212 votes every single time they took a vote, but you got more Republicans in Congress right now than Democrats. And like I stated before, there's a large portion of the country that still identifies as conservative. So they're united, but they're only united with other Democrats, and that's not going to be enough. Looking in the comments, yeah, Jim Jeffries, Biden in jail for certified documents. Geyer race. Now, that's the obvious statement we're making there. The question we're tackling today is, do you believe Biden being found in possession of classified documents is a victory for President Trump? Now, for folks who are suggesting, and I'm hearing this from folks on the right, I think even Marjorie Taylor Greene and Trump tweeted out, asked the question, do you think they're going to raid Biden's home? No. And he answered his own question. And most likely Trump is correct. However, for the folks on the right that are demanding accountability for Biden, as you're stating in the comments there, Guy Fish, that Biden should go to jail for the certified documents, then you do realize he's going to have a cellmate, one that tends to tan in the color of orange. Because if Biden goes down for the documents, then shit, Trump's quantity of documents seems to be significantly higher. And they had to get a subpoena because he wouldn't hand over what he actually had in his possession. He has signatures stating from his lawyers that he didn't even have any documents, and they found that not to be true. So if Biden ends up going to jail, then you would have to assume he has a cellmate. Going to the box. My name is Kitten. The program. Kitten, good afternoon.
What's going on, handsome liberal? How are you? What is
I'm
it?
doing good. Is this a victory for Trump?
I mean, I'll just say right now, the circumstances in which the events are unfolding are very different from each other. Biden's legal team voluntarily gave these documents up. Biden is saying that he didn't know the documents were there, whereas Trump said, yeah, I had them. I absolutely had them, and I knew where they were, and they were locked in. So the circumstances are not the same, at least not appearing from the outside right now. So I'm going to reserve judgment until I have more information because the circumstances aren't the same.
Well, but what about we look at it like this? Let's say two individuals go out and rob a bank. And the police know that they robbed the bank. One individual keeps saying he didn't rob the bank, and they have to do a raid on his home to go back in and get the money. The other person wakes up, realizes what I did the other day was wrong, and they go and hand the money back to authorities. Are they both not guilty of robbing a bank?
Well, I would say that, I would say at the very least, the guy who's smart enough to not say that he knew he robbed the bank is probably better off than the guy who just flat out says, yeah, I robbed that bank. I'll say he's at least smarter in that aspect.
But they are still both bank robbers, though, correct?
I mean, like I said, if he didn't know the documents were there and they can prove that, then we're kind of putting the horse before the cart, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because he's denying that he knew they were there. Trump doesn't deny that.
Have you ever heard of the phrase, ignorance is no excuse for breaking the law?
Well, that depends on whether he directly took those documents or not. Right now, all we know is they found those while unpacking one of his offices.
Yeah, but
That's all we know right now.
Yeah, but when you say he didn't know and things like that, it sounds like I'm watching live PD and the guy's like, I didn't know that weed in the car was mine. If it's in your possession, whether you know you have it or not, you're supposed to know what's in your possession, right?
I mean, you said the other day that people in America benefit from the presumption of innocence until proven guilty, correct?
Yeah, but if they find you with the documents on you, they've proven you guilty.
But they didn't, though. They found him in one of his offices while packing it. He wasn't there, and he denies knowing that they were there. He didn't confess to that. I'm reading it right now.
He did not deny that he was in possession of the documents. He may state, I didn't know I was in possession of them, but there is no denying that the documents were in a location that he had access to.
I mean, again, I'm going to reserve judgment. I mean, if he was coming out like Trump and said, yeah, I took them, yeah, I had them, yeah, I confess, then yeah, I'll throw judgment down on him because you're confessing to the crime, right? But right now, we know very little. If he is guilty and he took those documents and they're classified information and it's against the law for him to have them, then he should be punished, But I doubt you'll hear the same from Trump supporters, you know what I mean? And the guy already confessed to the crime, and he hasn't been punished. So
I would suggest that based on the defense you're presenting for Biden, which is a viable defense, I do not see how Trump could not use a lot of that himself. I was ignorant. I didn't know I had them or whatever. And
the problem is he's already given up his right to the fifth, you see. He confessed to the crime.
Yeah, that didn't go well.
When you confess to a crime,
Yeah.
you're pretty much signing your own death warrant, right? Well, unless you're
Yeah,
rich, right?
but how do you respond? Because in the comments, somebody said exactly what I was going to say, and that is, Bam Bam 77 said Trump stated he declassified the documents, though.
I mean, I'll address the, because they're saying Biden is he very well could be a liar, but we don't know enough to pass down judgment yet. You know what I mean? Again, it's not like he came forward and said, "Yeah, I took him. Yeah, I had him. Yeah, I locked him in a safe away here and there, and I stole him." Yeah, you know what I mean? So he's at least
But
that smart, but you know.
yeah, so at the end of the day, do you think either one of these individuals, Trump or
Mm.
Biden, will face any significant punishment for what
Oh no,
we're
no,
now
no.
accusing them of?
No, no, no. Unless if you're rich, unless you screw people over who have more money than you, nothing really happens to you in America. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You have to actually do something to people who are more powerful and have more money than you, and then they will get you punished. You know what I mean?
right.
That's how it works.
I don't disagree with that one bit at all. And I have said it many a time on the program that Trump, Biden, Hunter Biden, Hillary Clinton, none of those folks are going to jail. I just believe it's a pipe dream to think any of those guys, any of those individuals will ever be in a jumpsuit. But I got to move it on, kitten. You
Have
know
a good
what we
one,
do
man.
here. Good, you too. Always good. Looking in the comments. These rich people run that are president are packing their own boxes. Yeah, obviously you're being sarcastic. Yeah, but at the end of the day, regardless of who packs your bags or not, any of you who have flown on an aircraft, they ask that question all the time. Did anyone else pack your bags for you? Does that mean if you answer yes and they find a couple kilos of smack in there, they're going to let your ass off? Probably not. Doesn't matter if the bags are packed by someone else or not. If you show up to the airport with a bunch of smack in your bag, nobody gives a damn if you packed it or not. It's in your hand, and they're going to arrest you for it. So I get the point that we're suggesting, well, these guys are president, they don't know who moves their material and things like that. But at the end of the day, whoever is moving your material, you hired them. You are responsible for whatever they're doing. I mean, because they go out and rob a bank and they bring all the money and put it in your bedroom. Well, I didn't know he brought all of that. I don't think that's going to fly. But at the presidential level, as my previous caller stated, they can get away with a lot of shit that you and I cannot. All right, going back to the box. Tap the screen. Get your boy up to 20,000 likes. There's 600 plus in here. As I say in every program, this is a MAGA friendly program. I do not ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. Free speech rights are always paramount here. Give you plenty of time in the box to state your case without any fear of censorship. Fact that you might disagree with the host never means a damn thing. Ocam's razor. Let's do this. Let's make it happen. God's plan is someone at the door. What if you're not religious? What does God have for somebody who's not religious? Oh, Camps, good afternoon.
How's it going, man? How you doing today?
I'm in the trenches. We're trying to see if Biden is going to rescue Trump. Is this a score for Trump now that Biden has been found in possession of classified documents as well?
Man, I think you said it best. You've got basically two scenarios here. You've got two presidents that were caught with documents that may or may not have been declassified. And then you have that the point in that scenario of these guys are presidents. Do you think anything is going to happen at all? No.
No, yeah, I don't think
It,
that's going to happen.
I mean, nothing will absolutely come of any of this, and you could say that on both ends of the spectrum. You know, you could say, well, they're not going to do anything to Trump because supposedly he declassified all of those papers, those documents, whatever, whatnot, and then of course, Joe Biden can say, well, that stuff was moved out of my presidential vice president office. And I didn't know none of that was in there.
But let me ask you this, because I mean, neither one of us are no federal lawyer, but I mean, we have to speculate on this because when Trump was president, it was rumored that when investigations came knocking at his door, that he actually entertained the question of, is it possible for me to pardon myself if something happens? Well, currently with Biden being the president, being in possession of documents that you do not supposed to be in possession of is indeed a federal crime. So are we in a position now where Biden could potentially pardon himself?
I mean, the burden, it's all on the burden of proof, though, isn't it? I mean, you can speculate all you want, but it's basically going to come.
What about but what about proactively? Like, for instance, anything that I may be accused of in the future in regards to these documents, I'm just going to issue myself a blanket pardon, so that if any, because after he leaves office, if let's say Trump follows Biden in 2024, we know Trump would go after him. I mean, we know that. So maybe he would want to pardon himself so that the next guy doesn't try to hammer him.
Yeah, but can you actually do that?
That's the question we're asking. Because also, if Trump wins in 2024, Hunter Biden is going to be in trouble.
Well, now that I can't deny that. Yeah, yeah, that whole Hunter Biden thing. Yeah, that's going to be like fox after a rabbit for sure. But I don't know as part of the extent of the law, especially when it comes to high government officials, from chiefs of staff to all the way to the president. But I don't know if a person can kind of preemptively pardon himself just in case he doesn't win the 2024 election. I'm not sure I'm not even sure it even works that way.
The thing I have to wonder, because I'm with you. I don't know how it works, but in my opinion, it shouldn't be an option. If you are president and you're being investigated potentially for a crime, you should not have the ability to exonerate yourself. So even though you and I don't know whether it can happen or not, in my opinion, it should be in black and white that they cannot do that. The fact that Trump was even able to ask shows that's a problem. They need to write a straight up a law and say, you cannot pardon your damn self. Does anybody think that's right?
I mean, I definitely don't think it's right. I don't. I mean, I'm a big Trump supporter anyway, and I'm not even a Republican, but I don't think no matter who that is, you shouldn't be able to have that kind of power, because that's basically almost really just getting away with murder, nearly.
Well, something like in the middle of Fifth Avenue comes to mind.
Well, that's
the
fair.
Man did say it. The man did say it. I
mean,
go ahead.
I just think, but I am with you on it. But I think that if there is that law or that loophole that a president can do that, it definitely should be put down that a president can't do that.
Yeah, I just cannot. And I've said this before, whether you like Trump like yourself or you disagree with him like a lot of liberals, I think Trump has pushed the envelope in ways that they do need to write some laws, because a lot of our government has been based on the honor system. And Trump pushed the envelope in ways where you never thought somebody would ever try to do that. So you do certainly with the investigating whether you can pardon yourself. I don't know if the founding fathers ever thought we'd have a president that would want to pardon himself. So it wasn't in the Constitution, but that is something they certainly need to put into law, because you should nobody that's charged with a crime should have a say-so on whether they can be pardoned or not. The fact that he was even able to ask that shows a major loophole in our system.
For sure. And who really knows what is actually going on behind the scenes? I mean, it could be a situation to where, hey, I had these documents, but I was advised by my advisors during the transfer of power that these documents are mine. I mean, we just don't really truly know what the situation is. And that could be the same with Biden. That stuff could be given to him on his way out at the end of the Obama presidency, that they were told, hey, you can have that. So either way, on either side, Biden or Trump. I mean, is that still terms for imprisonment, or is that terms for we get it, that's cool, just give them back to us, we're okay with that? Would that be the same during the Biden administration? Would say that to Trump, or would that be Trump during his next administration if he gets in? Would that be the case toward Biden? Who really
Yeah,
knows
see,
what's going on?
yeah, see, my answer to that would be they need to first find out why, because you're going to give you're going to give a former president or a current president a wide berth, a lot of leeway. So you need to find out why the documents were there in their possession to begin with. If it was an honest mistake, where Biden did not pack them or where Trump actually thought they were declassified, in most cases, you're probably going to forgive them. But if you got a case where a person was told, we need to get this shit back, and the person was pushing in line and saying they don't even have it to begin with and things like that, then that's something more sinister. But as a president, you're going to probably give them as much leeway as possible. But what they're claiming on Trump is that they kept going to him over and over again and telling him, we need this stuff back. And his lawyers have said, we don't have anything else. So finally, for some reason, they got a subpoena. In my opinion, that's probably because of snitches. Whereas somebody in Mar-a-Lago saw that he had stuff he didn't supposed to have and told someone else, and that's where the subpoena came from. But we don't
So,
know why they got the subpoena.
and how many of these ex-presidents or ex-vice presidents do you actually think goes through these documents word for word, paper for paper, to make sure that they're not carrying anything? That stuff is left in the hands of other people.
To me, it makes no sense in the digital age, though. Any classified document you type up, give it a sequence of numbers, and that has to be stored in a classified database that keeps tabs on the location of that document. That, to me, would be the simplest process for that. So anytime that document moves from point A to point B, it has to be updated in the document, in a database where it's going. So that way you would know where all documents are at any given time. I don't see how they can't come up with some shit like that. In
Yeah, but
2023, it doesn't make any
well,
sense.
I mean, you would think that would be the easier solution here, but I don't see every president making sure that files that are getting given to them at the end of their presidency, that they are going through every page just to make sure somebody on that end didn't make a mistake. I
It wouldn't
mean,
be the president's job. It wouldn't be the president's job. The military
that's
would
what I'm
have their
saying.
own. Yeah, the
So
military would have their own database. The CIA would have their own database. The FBI, the NSA, CDC, all of these three-letter organizations would have their own database of where their documents are located. So if one of them wants to give the president a document in their database, it would show on this day the custody went from here to here.
Yeah, and there's just no way, with as much information that goes and that passes through the Oval Office in a day's time, there is no way a president can go through every one of those documents. That stuff is left in the hands of other people, and those
Right.
people are advised to the president to say, hey, these are classified documents that was handed to us from the Secretary of Defense. On your way out, you're going to have to sign off on these papers. If those things, the president just doesn't walk out with stuff that he thinks is his. That's stuff that is given to him by advisors. And this is going to be with Biden, and this will also be with Trump. So nothing's going to happen to Biden, nothing's going to happen to Trump, because that
I
stuff
agree.
is not just stuff that he can take. It's just
I
stuff that
agree.
is given to him and signed off to him.
Fair point. Before I let you go, one last question. Trump stated on Sean Hannity's show that he was told you could think documents into declassification. You think that's valid?
I think that's just more of Trump's Twitter vomit.
So do I. Gotta move it on. Come on back to anytime, man.
You got it. Thank you, sir.
Good talk. Good talk.
That's what we're so I agree with the previous caller, but real quick in the comments, when I was talking about new laws have to be probably created because Trump pushed the envelope, one of the callers, looks like Angie's, asked, how did Trump push the envelope? Well, who the hell is responsible for the National Guard in regards to what happened on January 6th. That's pushing the envelope. Same thing I mentioned about the pardoning deal. That's pushing the envelope. Can you pardon yourself? Yes or no? That's pushing the envelope. Can the vice president overturn the election? That's pushing the envelope. That's why a lot of the things Trump was doing, nobody knew the answer to because he was doing shit nobody has ever tried. He was pushing the envelope. So I don't see how anyone could turn a blind eye or act as though they don't see where Trump was pushing the envelope. The Mike Pence issue with overturning the election. Who the hell would be responsible for calling in the National Guard if there's a major crisis in Washington? Now we don't know that because of Trump's pushing the envelope with the entire protest or insurrection or whatever the hell you want to call it that happened there. And like I stated before, can you pardon your own self? That's pushing the envelope. I want a total and complete ban on all Muslims entering the country. Can you ban everyone that maintains a certain religion from entering America? That's pushing the envelope. So there's so many things Trump was doing that no other president has done before. Keep in mind, a lot of my beloved MAGA folks, that's what you wanted. You wanted somebody that was different, somebody who drained the swamp, led the country in a different direction that you thought was better than what the typical politicians were doing, which is why he won. But at the end of the day, yes, you do need in black and white, written on paper, actual documentation of whether you can and cannot do a lot of the things that Trump was doing, such as, can you think documents into declassification? Once again, that's pushing the envelope because people don't know. He said that on Sean Hannity's show, and Sean Hannity did not even push back and say, you got to be kidding, right, Mr. President? No, he didn't push back because he doesn't know. So at the end of the day, you need laws to make sure you actually have an answer when this person is doing this stuff. Because the founding fathers probably never expected a president to come along and do some of the things that Trump has done. Going back to the box. Unapologetic black man, I saw you were in there. Happened. Biden is president. How can he have declassified documents? Well, now, how can he, as far as being the current president, he can have anything on him now. Fancy Prancy. Shout out to you. Appreciate it. Definitely a friend of the program. Black man, Biden and Trump, both in possession of documents. Does this help Trump out?
Hell to the no. And he knows it doesn't. He knows it doesn't. No, because they're trying to speed past. They're trying to speed past what legal teams, attorneys, and different agencies have already stated about Biden's differences of the discovery and Trump discovery. And here's some differences. Okay, Biden files were found in a closet in a private office nobody has access to, and his attorneys forgot about it. And when they remembered, they said, hey, we have these files, come get them. They didn't obstruct, they didn't say I guess assert ownership over them or anything. We're talking about Trump, who had that shit under his pillow and next to him, next to his big king size bed, and he obstructed to give them back. He didn't want to hand them over. And when he did find out that it was illegal, he tried to assert ownership. Then they said, no, you can't do that. Then he said, well, I declassified them. It's two different situations. That's what I'm.
Why do you think Trump was so? If what you're saying is true, and I've heard it that way many a time, why do you think he was so adamant in holding on to these documents when they were letting him know these are classified documents you're not supposed to have in your possession?
Who knows what 80-year-olds think? I mean, usually we're just happy that they're still breathing, right? So to
you said who knows what who thinks? What did you refer to him as?
80-year-old men think. We don't know what the hell 80. Yeah, like we just. I mean, because the 80-year-olds in my family, I'm just happy that they're alive. You know what I mean? I wouldn't trust these people with my retirement money, but we trust the 80-year-olds to run our country. So I don't know what he was thinking, but we all know that that he has always been a narcissist when it comes to, I'm the only one that can do something. And that's what it sounds like he's saying right now. I'm the only one that can do this. I'm the only one that can declassify documents like Magneto. Like, nobody can do that, sir. He's the only one. And he says it in his. If you listen to his speeches, don't he say, um, "I'm going to declassify documents like nobody ever declassified before."
Well,
He
yeah,
does
but he
things
was
like
talking
nobody
about
ever done
doing it.
before.
Yeah, he was talking about doing it from a position like an Eric Snowden or an Elon Musk,
Yeah,
being
yeah.
like an informant and letting everybody know the corruption of the government. Now, he didn't carry that out, but that's what he was trying to elude to the people is that I'm going to be a government official that is righteous, unlike what you've had in the past, which is why people often state he's not a typical politician. But he didn't carry that out. He just gave it lip service.
The job of a president is having the knowledge of politics. So for citizens to say we need a businessman, are you people freaking? No, we don't need a damn businessman. Would you call a goddamn mechanic to come fix your plumbing? Would you? I don't know shit. I don't know. I don't know shit about carpentry or mason work. So don't call me if you want me to build a damn building. And stop asking, expecting for a businessman. And don't get me wrong, America is a capitalism country, but we don't need a businessman to run institutions and our government like a business. That would never work, people.
Well, he tried it, and there are some. What about the economy, though? When it comes to strengthening the economy and controlling spending, uh, getting these whack ass trade imbalances with places like China and things like that, wouldn't a businessman be the right one to call for that type of stuff, for the finances, for the inflation, for the economy?
Not if he's not inclined to listen to the top economists, not if he's not have any knowledge on legislation that can actually help the people for price gouging and regulations that actually bring companies back to America and to produce cleaner energy, anything. If you don't have that type of knowledge, then again, you're just going to dump your money into more elites. And again, the Conservative Party hates elites, but you don't have a problem with a president who's a freaking elite. Like he was all
Yeah, I
his
don't. Yeah,
his
I hear
entire
that a
life.
lot. Yeah, I
Yeah, he
hear that a
rubbed
lot
elbows with the
from.
elites his entire life, even when he was the
Yeah,
president.
I hear that a lot, particularly from my folks on the right, because you're correct. Folks have stated we don't like elites, and I agree with you 100% that both parties have plenty of elites, and like you suggested, Trump hung around elites all the time. I don't care what politician folks on the right say is a rhino or they're an elitist, or Trump was friends with all of those people, whether it's the Clintons or whether it's the folks on the right. So even Epstein, for all of the demonization of Epstein, and he definitely has earned that. Trump was hanging out with that guy. It wasn't, folk, but he went to the island or she went to the island. Oh, he was hanging around with him too. You don't have to. You think that guy only did what he wanted to do on an island? You think if he
Mhm.
got horny in the middle of the night in Manhattan, he didn't find somebody to go there too? So, I agree that both sides of the aisle have their share of elites. But in the comments, I want to ask you this. Hellboy says America is a business. And yes, we needed Trump to come in. How do you view the comment that America is a business?
I already said that. I agree with them, and I can agree that if we want to put a businessman in office, but again, he has to be able to obtain other attributes when it comes to politics and policy. But
Right.
we can't sit here and say that like the person, like people don't, his own constituents, Trump own constituents, don't trust him with their retirement money, but they trust him running America. No, if we're gonna have a businessman in office, at least I want a businessman that I can trust with my damn retirement money. You hear me? Because shit, my
Which
401k
one?
is
Give
uh,
me a politician, shit, out of the last 20 years that you would be willing to trust with your retirement money.
Katie Porter.
Really? Okay.
Hell to the yeah.
You
Yeah,
definitely answered that quick. Okay, I gotta look more. I've heard Katie Porter's name been thrown around all over the place. I need to
she's
follow up
bad.
more on her.
Oh, she's bad. She's the one that will point out the fact that inflation in America has never risen over an 11.3%, but now it's at 53%. And at least the Democrats presented four pieces of legislation to try to uh, stop price gouging, and zero, you hear me? Zero out of 50 Republicans showed up to vote. to help make America great again. So again, yes, I agree. If you want to put a businessman in there or a businesswoman in the office, let's do it. But make sure that they have enough knowledge, like Katie Porter, to know or at least uh, keep the promises of making America great again when it comes to the economy.
Fair enough. All right, black man, you know what I got to do.
Yeah, I
Appreciate you
know, man.
rolling up in here.
Oh,
Good talk.
you're gonna have to one day. You're gonna have to make me goddamn co-host for the whole day. I'm a
You never know. I'm always open to such things. Catch you
always a
later.
blessing.
You too. Biden got caught for hiding papers. That's kind of what we're talking about now. I was about to ask a question. I saw somebody said something in the comments, but TikTok always scrolls the shit. Trump was never at the island. Truth seeker. Whether Trump was at the island or not, in my opinion, is a disingenuous way to judge associates of Epstein. I've heard people say that everybody from Will Smith to Oprah Winfrey to Tom Hanks was on the island, therefore they are pedos, but because Trump was not on the island, he's somehow an angel. That makes no sense to me. And the reason I stated that is if you are a true pedo and you got a true problem, you're not just going to do that shit on the island. This guy was ultra wealthy. He had locations all over the world he could go and visit, and he had a pimp. He had a woman that specifically was bringing folks to him to be victimized. You're going to tell me he could only do that on the island? Do you really believe that? There are call girls and folks that are being trafficked all over New York City. If he's hanging out with Trump and he's in the mood in the middle of Manhattan, you're going to tell me he has to leave the island? If Manhattan and fly all the way to this other damn island to make something happen? R. Kelly didn't have to do that shit. You're going to tell me Epstein couldn't? There's no way in the world I'm going to believe that the only time this man was doing shit he shouldn't have been doing was on the damn island. And he got that kind of money and an active pimp working for him. That just makes no sense at all. So, was Trump involved in it? I do not know. But I'm not going to disqualify anybody simply because they were not on the island. That makes no sense. Trump is in photos partying with Epstein all over the damn place. But because he didn't go to an island, he's cool? Makes no sense. Just doesn't make any sense. Looking back in the box, or the comments rather, did you mention that did she really pass away? Diamond and Silk. I knew she was in the hospital. I thought she had a really acute case of COVID. Diamond passed away, huh? No, I did not know that, Fancy Prancy. Wow. I was not aware of that. I have to look that up. I was just reading up on those two less than a week ago. When did she pass away? Wow, that's crazy. Did not know that. Are we holding those that did go to the island to that same logic as well? Kaylin, as far as I'm concerned, if you were a big associate of Epstein, particularly a man, certainly the ones that are known to be playboys, like a Trump or a Bill Clinton, you're suspect. In my opinion, whether you went to an island or not is meaningless. These are ultra wealthy people. They could easily throw a party any damn where in the United States, any basement or penthouse they could get their hands on. You don't need to just go to an island. That's laughable. Most pedos are doing it right here in this country. But you're going to tell me a guy that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars can only do it on an island. Yeah, that's laughable to me. Let's go back to the box. STLAVA. I don't know what that's saying. St. Louis, Los Angeles, Virginia. Okay. STLAVA. Appreciate you coming through. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? STLAVA. Can you hear me? Oh, moving on. All right, who cares about Epstein, though? Trump literally tried to subvert democracy. He's a traitor. Well, the jury is still out on that, Toronto, but I'm liberal. I lean left. And I would have to agree that if that was done by a left-winger, folks on the right would say that person was trying to subvert democracy. The only reason anything happened on January 6th is because Trump stated the election was taken from him. And you had folks like Steve Bannon saying come to D.C. on the 6th is going to be wild. And then, of course, Giuliani, let's have trial by combat, and Trump saying you got to fight like hell for your country back. He said let's go peacefully, but when you're talking to a crowd that has a gallows erected and they're calling for the offering of the vice president and things like that, I don't know how you could expect that crowd under that conversation, chanting those type of chants, to leave you, go to the Capitol building, and all of a sudden become peaceful. It just, to me, does not seem logical. Is Trump responsible for it? That's got to be adjudicated in court. However, in my opinion, it is predictable that if you sent those people based on what they were chanting in front of the speakers, meaning Trump, Don Jr., Steve Bannon, Sidney Powell, and of course Rudolph Giuliani. If you look at that crowd and you imagine that crowd that's standing in front of them on the lawn being placed at the Capitol building, it just doesn't seem logical that if you pick them up from the lawn and put them at the Capitol building, they're not going to become peaceful. When you look at what they were yelling and chanting on the lawn, it just seems like it makes sense that if you let them go over there, they're going to be angry over there. And they are going to now be closer to the people they're angry with. It doesn't make any sense that you would expect them to be peaceful. But we can't exactly blame, say that Trump is guilty of it until the courts finish their case. All right, going back to the box. Nobody here. 162089. Both men found to be in possession of classified documents. Nobody here. Does this help Trump?
Yo, what? What was that? Sorry.
Now that Biden, too, has been found to be in possession of classified documents, the question is, does that help the case against Trump? Does that help Trump now that his opponent has also been found to be in possession of classified material?
Does it help him? Probably not.
Do you believe Trump will ultimately be convicted of what they performed a raid on his home in Mar-a-Lago for?
Probably.
So you do believe Trump will...
But I think Biden will have to get the same thing also.
So you believe both of these men... You believe both of these men will possibly be convicted?
Possibly. Yes.
Really? I can't see it for
nice
I would bet. Go ahead.
That would be nice to see. I mean, if they're doing wrong, they need to be in trouble.
I would probably put 20-1 odds that Trump will not be convicted, and I'd probably give 100-1 odds that Biden won't be convicted. I can't see it happening at all.
Yeah. I mean, you may be right. Yeah. I mean, with the system that we live in. Yeah.
Yeah, but so if you believe that Trump will be convicted, then you believe he will not be running for president in 2024 because that conviction would disqualify him from being president ever again.
It will eliminate that. Yeah.
You think that has a chance to happen?
Why he's I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it happened.
Wow.
With everything that's went on these days.
So, what about the notion that both of these men were accidentally in possession of these documents and they weren't trying to do anything nefarious?
Well, if it was, I don't see how it could be accidental by any means.
They don't pack their own bags.
True.
Yeah, when Trump left the White House.
How do we know?
Go ahead.
How do we know they don't pack their own bags?
Come on,
do we know that to be true?
You really believe that old ass Biden or even old ass Trump, after leaving the White House after years, they actually handpacked that shit? I don't even think Melania Trump packed her own bags. You really think there's a possibility they're sitting on the bed packing shit? I don't see it.
I mean, everybody wants a memorabilia, right? Of anything you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
So why wouldn't they want memorabilia of something they did?
Yeah, I get your point, but let's say I wanted memorabilia. Let's say they had a painting or a bust of Lincoln in the White House. I would literally point to that bust and, have Johnson pack that up and send it up to the Hamptons. I wouldn't touch it at all. I just can't imagine either one of these
No,
individuals packing.
true. I mean,
Yeah,
they could
so
have been set up. I mean, it could have been a setup.
a setup. Set up by
You
who?
know, yeah. I don't know, someone that don't like the guys.
Um Yeah, but okay, let's say it's a setup by somebody that doesn't like them. Then that individual also had possession of documents that they had no legal right to get. So you have to figure out who else could set up the president that would have enough power to even get their hands up. Like, let's say, for instance, I wanted to set the president up. So I wanted to put nuclear documents in his drawer or some shit. I don't have access to the documents to begin with. So you got to be a high ranking official to even get access to do what you're suggesting.
And that high ranked official that almost has more power than the president. Well, they're trying to retire or did retire. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, but that should be pretty easy to trace because, like I said, if you're talking about documents that are so secretive, they can only be held in special locations. How hard can it be to find out who has had access to this during that time? I mean, somebody had to go in the skiff and get the document and take it out. One of the things that is so shocking is that they do not have a paper trail for these documents. Like, you should know the chain of custody for documents that are at this level. If Biden or
Yes.
Trump has documents that are, top level classified, there should be some type of signatures required. Like, where did it come from before here? Who signed it out? I don't get how that's so difficult for them to do that.
Yeah, and why won't they release that to all of us public? Because it should be that easy to find.
Yeah.
So why
So,
aren't they finding it and releasing it?
so how do you feel about Trump suggesting that he could potentially think documents into declassification?
Thank them into declassification.
On
I
the
don't believe that.
when all of this shit hit the fan on Trump, when his home was raided in Mar-a-Lago last fall, he appeared on Sean Hannity's show and said that some would say that as a president, you can literally think about documents being declassified, and there has it. So you don't even have to tell anybody they're declassified. If you're president, you can think it into existence.
I don't believe that at all. Like I'm sorry I didn't hear that. So thank you for updating me. Um
You didn't hear that, huh? That
Sorry.
was on the news. Yeah, that was floating around
Yeah.
everywhere.
I don't believe that at all. I think there should be a due process to get it declassified.
Right. And there
Period.
should be
On either side.
records. Yeah, there should
Yes.
be a record and a signature stating what date and time this document went from classified to declassified. If not stamped directly on the document, yeah, that should be some
Yes.
form of chain of custody or something. So I don't get how at this level, because we're talking about the highest echelons of our society, how this stuff is this
Yeah.
messy and this sloppy.
Yeah, I know. Like Um, you know, we seem like level-headed people. I kind of lean more towards the right, where you lean
Mhm.
more towards the left, and
Right.
I haven't fully disagreed with you all the times I've seen you on here.
Appreciate it.
Um,
Let's appreciate the support.
I, I like keeping up with you. You talk things, from both points of view. You
I
know,
try to keep it fair, try to keep it pithy as possible. But sometimes I slip, but I do appreciate you tuning in, man. I do got to move it on, though.
all right.
Nobody's here. I like the name, but I got to
All
move it
right.
on.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Come on back through anytime. All right.
All right.
Looking in the comments, go check out the live cam looking at the White House and tell me what you see. I'm obviously hosting a live right now, but damn, that's got me curious. What is being shown if you look at the live cam right now, looking at the White House? I want to know. Trump knew exactly what he was doing, selling out us Americans to the highest bidder. I'm going to go back to the box, but shit, I got to ask this question. Yes or no in the comments. How many of you believe that Trump was actually looking to make money off of classified documents? Yes, if you believe something that is outrageous as that, or, treasonous as that. No, if you don't believe President Trump would do that. How many of you believe President Trump cared that little about the nation in which he governed that he would sell documents to, as this individual, Sandra, is stating, the highest bidder? That's got to be the highest level of treason you can get involved in. Wow. And I'm seeing 51%. That's essentially a yes, attacking the ignorances. Wow. In regards to doing a poll, I haven't figured out how to do that on here yet, because I would love to do a poll on this damn question, but there's a lot of folks saying yeah. So if Trump is that much of a traitor to his own nation, why are there so many folks that believe he is the commander-in-chief we need for 2024? Maybe I got the wrong class of people here, because I'm hearing that Trump is the best guy going forward. And in this room, half of you guys think more than half of you think he would sell out classified documents for money. The guy came down the escalator and announced he was worth, what, 10, $15 billion? He doesn't even fucking need the money. Why would he do that? I don't know. I don't know. He doesn't need the money to commit a crime at that high level. I don't see it. I mean, not only that, but he's like almost 80 years old. 10 years from now, he'll probably be hanging out with Barbara Walters. I just sell out the government for money? I mean, like, really? All right, going back to the box. Attacking the ignorance. Fair enough. Lowest gas prices. All gas prices have been lower. Attacking the ignorance. Good afternoon.
Good morning for me still.
Oh, okay.
I'm
You're over on the West Coast, apparently.
Yeah, I'm on the West Coast. I'm on the good side.
You must, to make a statement like that, you must definitely lean left.
Well, you know me. I'm also a piano man.
Fair enough. All right, so what do you think? You think that this is going to help Trump out now that Biden, too, has been found with classified documents in his possession?
No, I don't think it's going to help Trump out at all. Let's put it this way. As soon as this came out, I'm hearing on broadcasts off of TikTok. I'm already hearing people saying they were found by a janitor in a school. Biden's documents.
The Biden's document. I was told his lawyer found them.
That's just it. So I made a little video last night on my page, and basically what it was this. It was in Penn. I think it's Penn and Biden Center. His lawyers found him. His lawyers contacted the White House lawyers. The White House lawyers contacted the presidential the archivist. They said, "Oh, I didn't know that we were missing him." Then Merrick Garland contacted an attorney general placed by Trump out in Chicago to investigate this. So everything that Trump did in regards to lying, hiding, not giving him back, Biden's done the opposite. Biden's done everything in regards to asking, telling, doing whatever needs to be taken care of. He's the one who's planting the proper procedure. If you find something, just investigate it. Come on.
Okay, so let me, because this is coming straight out of the comments. This is coming from Miss Bean. Yeah. She said, I don't care. Her comment, I want you to respond to this. I don't care if Jesus found them. They were stolen and it was illegal. In other words, doesn't matter what chain of custody Biden did to get them back. Fact is, he had them and he wasn't supposed to have them, and that is illegal.
Okay,
how do you respond?
So does she apply her comment towards Trump also?
You know how that works.
Well, I mean that would make her a hypocrite then, correct?
Okay, fair enough. I get that point, but
right.
Listen.
But the thing is this. We who support Biden or like Biden and voted for Biden, we say investigate, and if there's something there, charge them. Unlike Trump lovers who say, no, he didn't. It's fake. It's a lie. He's an honest guy, blah, 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 blah. So the difference between the right and the left, we say if there's evidence of crime, find him, charge him, and then prosecute him and put him in prison. They say with Trump, he didn't do it. He's a nice guy. He's honest. He didn't steal them. And whatever's being said about him is fake and fraud. And he's the greatest guy on the planet of the earth. He's better than God. And there have been people who say that.
Well, that doesn't come in a vacuum. And I want to present this to you, and you let me know what you think. A lot of folks believe that Trump did not get a fair shake since day one. They believe that there's been so many investigations, many of them, in their opinion, wrongful investigations of Trump, that it's gotten to the point where you can't trust anybody that accuses Trump of anything because it appears that folks just want to hang the guy. How do you respond to that?
Well, the thing is this. They are using Trump's own words and actions in regards to whatever they say that he's done, like blaming Hispanic, the illegals, of they're rapists and they're this and
Yeah,
so
but
on.
that's not a crime. You
No,
can't go
no,
after a guy for saying that.
that's not a crime. But when you have Donald Trump blaming Muslims, saying that he saw thousands of Muslims in New Jersey when 9/11 happened and there wasn't anything, it's the perpetuation of his lies to make him bigger and better than what he is. He hurt the blue collar worker every time he dealt with contractors. He never paid them full amounts on their negotiations to do things. You have court cases where he has bankrupt people for trying to sue him for the money that's owed to them. His saying that he never did anything with Russia, but yet there's videos of him saying we're looking about building a Trump Tower in Russia. He had sex with a porn star while his wife was pregnant and gave birth. His all these things that Donald Trump has done in an illegal behavior, and then lying about pretty much everything that he's ever done. Yes, you're taking him from what he is saying. These are his own words and actions.
Yeah, but what I think you're doing is okay. The
Me pointing
fact
out
that
the obvious.
no, no, listen, you know I lean left, but I have to come at you with the devil's advocate side of the
Yeah,
aisle. A lot of things that Trump has done, he's rude, he's brash, he's a bombastic bomb thrower. Some of the things he has done, someone might consider to be immoral, such as cheating on your wife with a porn star while she's pregnant. But
all
none of
true.
that is criminal. None of that
No,
is
no,
criminal. Yet they're trying to
it's
put
not
him in jail.
right. But the thing is this: they say that Biden did something for his son Hunter. They said
Right.
they're quid pro quo. But yeah, but while Trump was working in the White House, Ivanka received 26 trademarks from China while Daddy's working in the White House.
Yeah.
Trump has been in business with China for the past 35, 40 years. Um, Trump has hidden everything that Trump has done or has pointed the finger at other people's doing. He has done that himself or is continuing to do it himself. He said, "Drain the swamp. It's corrupt." He added billionaires to his administration. He tried to use the DOJ to cheat in the voting in the election. He's the one who says other people are lying, as he says to his people, "I will never lie to you." He said he'll never play golf like Obama did. "I'll be too busy working." He played 340 days out of the first out of one a 4-year term.
What about his
All these,
economy?
huh?
What about his economy?
Well, again, we've
Job
talked about
numbers.
we've talked about that. Obama handed Biden, or excuse me, handed Trump a 77 straight month in both job growth and market growth. Unemployment was going down for everybody to 4.7 when Obama left. Trump lowered it from 4.7 to 3.5%. Trump had a great economy, unlike what Trump handed Biden.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so but Trump didn't handle the pandemic properly. He knew about it. He knew it was worse than the flu. It's in Bob Woodward's audiobook where Trump is saying it himself. These are Trump's words on audio on tape. So these are Trump words. "I knew that it was worse than the flu. I just didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to lose. I didn't want to panic America. I also didn't want to lose popularity." Trump knew this, guys. It's in the book. And anything
Bro,
you say about Fauci,
assuming
hold
the
on, hold on, hold
book.
on, hold on. Anything you guys say about Fauci, he worked under Trump. So quit blaming Fauci for anything. He worked under Trump, and he told Trump things, and Trump ignored it, like putting light in the body, using bleach in your system. And if you look
All
at
right.
the lady sitting down, she covers her. She has a smirk on her face, like
I've
going,
seen that.
"Well,
I've
come
seen that.
on." But
I've
anyway,
seen that. All right.
but hold on. Let's do this. Brunson versus Adams. You guys were laying your lifeline on Brunson versus Adams, trying to remove all of the Democrats in regards to January 6th. And what happened? It got kicked out by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, and that is a Republican Supreme Court. I gotta move it on. You
Thanks,
know what
brother.
we do.
You're
Good
looking
talk.
good. You're looking good.
I'm trying. I'm
You know,
doing it. I'm trying,
at
man.
least you're not wearing a white shirt where nobody can see the writing.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
All right, bro.
Catch you later. Catch
Be
you
good,
later.
buddy.
All right. In the comments, Alyssa says, Alyssa Love You says, you can't spell hatred without a red cap. Obviously referring to the cap behind yours truly, which I've heard before. I've mentioned this earlier on previous lives, rather. Not earlier today, but on previous lives. Many would suggest that this hat, assuming Trump does not become president again and improve his legacy, many have suggested that this hat will go down in history very similar to the Confederate flag, swastika, or other symbols of hate. Any chance that might be true? And that's in regards to Alyssa's comment saying you cannot spell hatred without the hat. There are some people who do see this hat as a symbol of hatred. There is no doubt, no denying about that. All right, going into the box, Farlow 2-0. Trumpers like him because he hates the same people they hate. Farlow, good afternoon.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, I appreciate you holding. I saw you in there. What do you think? You think this whole possession of classified documents shit that Biden is now fighting off, you think it'll help Trump?
Not in the sense because the vice president can't declassify documents like the president can. So this is bad on Biden. We don't even have to mention Trump in the situation. He went to the border and created a news story to deflect this coming out because the president knows when things are about to come out. People, elephant in the room. They know information that's going to come out. They can either slow it
Yeah,
down
but wait a
or
minute.
control how it's
If
released.
you think that, hold on, if you think that Biden being in possession of classified documents is a crime, going to the border ain't gonna clear that off. That ain't gonna that's not gonna cause anybody to deflect for more than 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, it would have been if it would have been worse if there were actual migrants in the holding facility, but they cleared him out before he got there, which is that's another that looks bad on him too. That looks bad on him too. Like you just made it worse. Then this comes out. Then you find out it's been there for 3 years, which lines up with the Hunter Biden laptop. So now it looks even worse. It's like the cover up is sometimes worse than the crime.
Yeah. So do you see a Biden conviction or anything coming out of this?
Unless they can link it to the laptop, no. It was at a donor's or super PAC's office. That looks bad. Why would they be in possession of that? And then again, that's what politicians are. That's what they value. They don't value money. They value information because information give them money or embarrass somebody they're trying to run against. So when Trump had the classified documents, they're rushing because they don't. What does he have? Does he have embarrassing information? We need to get that stuff. We need to get it to make sure he don't have something he can use against us in 2024. And then now Biden's caught with the same thing. They're like, oh, that's nothing. Don't worry about it. He's cooperating.
And you're correct that there is hypocrisy from the Democrats now that Biden has been caught, but there's also reverse hypocrisy from the folks on the right because they were downplaying it when Trump had it. Now they're going after Biden pretty strong. But in regards to President Trump, do you think it was just purely accidental? How do you feel about them saying it had to get a subpoena because he had the documents and continued lying about them? You think they're making that up?
All right, let's put a pin in that. I'm gonna say that's Monday quarterbacking because the Biden thing happened after the Trump thing. So they're not hip. They're not. It's not hypocrisy. they're acting like you acted when Trump's information came out. And now you're saying, oh, it's provocative. No, no, no. You showed us how to act. So we're going to act just like you acted when Biden stuff comes out.
I don't.
So
Yeah, I
that's
don't
their
know if
own
that.
fault.
I don't know if that quite
That's their
answers
own
the
fault.
question.
If they
Yeah,
would,
but
if somebody would have said, the left people on the left would have said, yeah, it's bad, but kind of agreed. No, they went straight to he needs to go to jail, lock him up. And so now that they're saying the same thing that you were saying, now it's hypocrisy. They're like, wait, I
yeah, but
thought you said that we need to wait and see.
I don't know if that quite answers the question. I mean, I'm asking. They got a subpoena on President Trump because they claim that they tried to work with him to get the documents back, and he continued lying about it. I'm asking you, the people who got the subpoena, do you think they were making it up when they said Trump was not cooperating?
I'm pretty sure he wasn't. Just by knowing the persona of President Trump, I would agree. He probably wasn't cooperating, or he was listening to his lawyers, what his lawyers were telling him to do,
So,
and
so wouldn't
that
that
gets him
make
in trouble.
yeah,
That gets him in
yeah,
trouble most
that would.
times.
So
Yeah.
do you see anything coming out of this for either one of them in terms of them really getting in trouble?
No, it's just mud for 2024. Is all it is.
Yeah.
Now, if the investigation says that Trump did something nefarious, that helps Biden. But if they link the laptop to those documents, it's going to be bad for Biden
Well, when it
in
got to the
2024.
laptop, here's my spiel on the laptop, and you can let me know what you think. In my opinion, when you look at where the laptop was found at some photomat or some drugstore, wherever the hell they got the laptop from, then it went through, I think, the hands of Rudolph Giuliani or somebody he hired. The problem I have with the laptop is the chain of custody. It went through a hell of a lot of folks that are critics of Biden as opposed to going straight from point A to the FBI or the CIA. A lot of people that are not fans of Biden had their hands on that laptop first. So is it not a legitimate question to state, are we sure everything on this was originally on it when it was in the hands of Hunter Biden?
I'm going to say yes because the news was sitting on it and they knew the information that was on there, but they chose not to let it out for whatever reason. We can speculate on that, but they had it in their possession. They knew it was on there. They knew they had it, and the Republicans or whatever the right, whatever people like to say, got their hands on it. That's their own fault. They knew it was out there. They knew where it was. They didn't go get it. Oh, it's a nothing burger. And
Well,
now when the Republicans find it, start.
You said the news had it?
Yeah, the New York Times or the New York Post, one of them had it.
Yeah,
They
but
sat on it. They had the story.
if the news was sitting on a laptop of Trump's, would you trust that the news didn't do anything to it?
Uh, Other than not let it out, I mean, if
No,
they could,
other
could
than
they
maybe
access
go
it?
on and implant. No, other than maybe go on and implant some information.
Oh, the FBI can find that out though. We'll find that out if
Right.
what's on the laptop is legitimate because the FBI has it now. So if there was anything put on there to make Hunter Biden look worse than he was because he doesn't need help because some of the stuff that was released doesn't look good.
Right. But at
The
the end of
cocaine
the
with the
day, let's
hookers and
just
all that, yeah, that stuff's
right.
not good.
But at the end of the day, let's be honest. Hunter Biden is not the target. Nobody gives a shit. Even folks on the left side of the aisle, nobody gives a shit if Hunter Biden goes to jail. The only sole purpose of this is to go after the big guy.
Right,
They
they're trying to
want
embarrass, trying to embarrass
right.
him.
Right. So if Hunter Biden goes down and that's it, that's just going to make Biden, who's already been through the death of his first wife and his kid and the death of his son later on, it's just going to make Biden a sympathetic character if Hunter Biden goes down, who we can say was addicted to crack and going through some shit. If you can't tie it to President Biden himself, it actually might help President Biden.
That's true, but at the same time, we always think it's the other side. Sometimes it's people in your own camp who want your spot.
That is
If
true.
you remember back when who was it? I think it was Romney and the Herman Cain story came out. They thought it was Romney that came out with it. It ended up being that other guy that could speak Chinese or whatever. It was the I can't remember his name, but it was his camp. He was like third in New Hampshire. If you go back and look whoever was third in New Hampshire, he's the one that came out with the Herman Cain story. But everybody was pointing to it was Romney. It was Romney, the Democrat, and it was neither of them.
Well,
It was the other
well,
guy.
there are so many folks on the right particularly my MAGA folks that are suggesting are rhinos at this point, I don't know who to trust because if you listen to MAGA,
The
other than Trump,
libertarians.
yeah, other than Trump being trustworthy, when you talk to MAGA, I don't know what other politician they consider trustworthy other than Trump. Everybody else is a rhino.
Rand Paul's pretty good, but he's more of a libertarian. So they don't like his cut the budget, non-interventionalism. Which Trump was a non-interventionalist. So
What about Ron DeSanctimonious?
I don't know enough about him yet. I mean, he pulled that
Okay.
stunt off with the planes, but that doesn't impress me. Are you going to actually cut the budget? Are you going to cut spending where it needs to be cut? Are you going to these silly things that we're spending money on to research if frogs like certain types of two male frogs like each other if they sit in the same? I mean, come on now, what is the government doing with our money, man?
Wait a minute though. Frogs can have pronouns too, right? This isn't a frog. It's a it's a toad. It
That's what I'm
identifies
saying,
as
man.
a toad.
And they're spending millions on this stuff. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this before we move it on. Do you believe that Trump is the best candidate going forward in 2024?
I gotta see the libertarian candidates first, then I'll make my call. I'm a libertarian. I usually vote for the libertarian. I mean, Joe Jordan, she was good last time. She got more percentage than old buddy that Johnson that ran before her. But after Ross Perot got on the stage, they increased the percentage to get on stage with the Democrats and Republicans, and no one has got on stage yet as a third party in the presidential debate since Ross Perot.
Shit, if you're a libertarian, you must feel like a Cowboys fan on election night. I mean, do you got when is the last time? I mean, like Ross Perot probably was the most successful third party candidate in
Yeah,
recent history, wasn't he?
yeah, that's why they changed the rules. They don't want that ever to happen again, ever.
Yeah, y'all, yeah. You pick a side, but don't. I mean, I understand you like the middle, you like small government and all of that shit, but a libertarian candidate in our lifetime, I can't see it.
We have to
And you
start
know
local
something?
first.
The crazy thing is, I think if Trump ran as a third party candidate, he would do better than any other candidate that we've ever seen.
I believe because what defeated Trump wasn't Biden; it was COVID. If
No, it
COVID
was
never
Trump.
happened, yeah,
It was his mouth. It was his
if
mouth, in
COVID
my
never
opinion.
happened, Biden doesn't beat Trump. Period.
Maybe, I can't. I
No,
can't
ain't no
totally.
maybe. He was
No, I gotta
Teflon.
go with maybe. I gotta
No,
go
ain't
with
no
maybe,
maybe.
Alex.
There was
I
no
gotta
there
go
was
with
no
maybe.
slight. I don't believe there been no mail-in ballots. There been no special circumstance. Everybody, it would have been a normal election. I think Trump would have won. The economy was booming. Everyone's retirement was great. Now, you could say his rhetoric sucked. I didn't like it. I wish he would have stopped tweeting. That would have helped him. But he can't help himself, so he
You
can't help
might
himself.
have a point. I mean, you're not the first I've heard to suggest that COVID is what took him down. But when you
That
talk to
is what took him down.
liberals,
I
yeah, when
mean,
you talk
if
to
we're being honest, without COVID, Trump is still president of the United States.
and the crazy thing is when it comes to COVID, because if you believe COVID is the main thing that took Trump down, when he says drain the swamp and I'm gonna surround myself by the best and brightest, if he had to just simply listen to the people around him, COVID would not have been a major issue because everybody took the advice of the people around them, the CDC, the Fauci's, and all. Most of the country took their advice. In my opinion, even with the vaccination, most of the resistance to the vaccination started with Trump. If he was on the same page as all of the other medical professionals, COVID wouldn't have been a big thorn in the side. It's because he put up so much resistance to the folks that were on stage with him, telling folks what to do.
I think it was the mask, not the vaccines. He's the one who came up with the warp speed thing in the vaccines in the first place. So it wasn't the vaccines; it was the mask.
You make a good point because they surrounded the Capitol building in Michigan, Governor Whitmer out there. I can understand maybe being afraid of the vaccine because of some kind of medical. What the hell was such a big problem about wearing a mask?
Well, we now know that they didn't work, but back then we didn't know that. So he didn't want to wear them. He didn't want to promote wearing them. I don't know what it would have helped him. I don't understand why he didn't. It would have helped him.
I mean, you
That
got
just
folks.
baffles me. It
You,
baffles
you
me.
got you got folks getting on an airplane, committing a federal crime, punching the stewardess for a mask. Like, is it really that a big of a hindrance that you're willing to commit a felony so you don't have to wear a mask? I never could understand that.
Me either. Or you infect somebody's loved one and then they seek you out. That's on you. You didn't want to wear the mask. I would wear the mask
Yeah.
just to protect other people that believed in it. Like if you felt like you're offended by, I'm gonna wear a mask so you'll feel more, you know what I'm saying? You feel more comfortable within reason. It has to be within reason. Everything has to be within reason. If
Right.
it's not within
Well,
reason, I'm sorry.
the whole thing could be summed up with three words: "Fuck your feelings." That was the whole motto of the Trump administration.
It,
Fuck your
I'm,
feelings. I don't care
I'm
what
still
you think.
I'm still baffled by that. Like the mask thing would have helped them, even though we found out now they wouldn't have worked. But back then, we didn't know. Like, dude, you got the vaccine. You married it to the mask. You look better. You know,
Yeah.
I don't understand. I'm still baffled by that. I don't understand why he was so fightful. Like he's fighting that whole thing. I didn't understand it. Even when he got COVID himself, I don't understand it.
Yeah, and the way he handled COVID himself was nothing short of irresponsible. They later released statements saying that the dude was damn near about to pass out when he walked to the helicopter. So I
Exactly.
guess
That's
just
what I'm saying.
being defiant just for the sake of defiance. I guess I never could understand that.
Yeah, I don't. I'm baffled by that whole situation.
Yeah. Well, and because of that, his legacy is probably ruined. I don't. What do you think? You think he has? I do not think he has a chance of being reelected. But what about you? You think we'll see another Trump presidency?
Probably because food and groceries and stuff is high and gas is high. When he was in office, it was the opposite. So he's going
Yeah.
to hit Biden hard on that. And if enough people agree that the economy was better, which it was, yes, Obama, the economy was growing very slowly. It was very slowly. And when he cut those regulations and he opened up the energy independence, this country grew with gasoline on a fire.
So
He could
why
have
did he
fucked it up.
do?
He could.
Okay,
I'm sorry. This is
if
TikTok.
we're
He messed it
holding
up. He could have messed it up, but
yeah,
he didn't.
if we're holding Biden accountable for the economy, and the economy under Biden has not been good, then why did Trump do so poorly in the midterms? His candidates did dismal.
One word: abortion, and that's their own fault.
Amen to that. I gotta
They
move it
helped
on, man.
themselves.
Self-inflicted. That's the whole.
Exactly.
That is the whole
I
story.
never understood. They were
Self-inflicted
going to
wounds.
win. It was going to be bad for the Democrats, and then in the middle of the summer, right before the election, that abortion rights overturned. I'm like, what? Y'all ain't gonna win in November. That's what I said.
You know
That,
what's funny is that President Trump himself stated that rolling back abortion rights would not be good for the midterms. But at the same time, Trump deserves a lot of accolades because folks on the right, particularly the evangelical crowd, this is something they've been wanting for since it actually became legal to have abortion. Trump finally brought them exactly what they wanted. So I mean, it makes Trump look really good, but yeah, it probably sealed a lot of Republican
yeah.
politicians' fate
Here's the
for a
thing:
long
they
time.
were so delusional that it was good for the country, they forgot about the other side, who is pro-abortion. So it's like, how is that going to bring them to vote for Republicans? I would like to hear someone explain that to me because I don't understand that.
They didn't care. If you're about protecting the life of a child, you don't care what people think. You're just trying to save that life. I'm pro-choice, but I understand the logic. If you believe a baby's life is being taken away wrongfully, you don't care what people think. You don't care anything about elections. You want to save the life of the unborn, and that's the way they view it. So but you're right. It's going to hurt people politically at the end of the day because women are going to galvanize behind the loss of Roe versus Wade rights the same way folks on the right will galvanize between any Second Amendment loss. Now, I get folks that are suggesting, well, it's not banning abortion, it's only giving it back to the states. Yeah, but there are plenty of folks, Lindsey Graham, Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell, that have come out and said, we want a federal abortion ban. I think Mike Pence said, we're not going to stop until we get a federal abortion ban. So even though it's a states' rights ploy right now, There's been enough top level Republican politicians that have said the quiet part out loud and made it clear we want to do this federally. We just haven't got there yet.
Mitch McConnell is a moderate Democrat. I
He
don't
is
care
the
what he
Senate
says.
majority leader on the Republican side of the aisle. We're not going to
Minority
buy
leader.
that.
Minority leader. Democrats hold the Senate right now. He's the minority leader right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
he's a moderate Democrat from back when. He's not a current
No
modern
way.
Republican.
No way. We're going
Look
to
at
look at.
look at his. He never. I look at his spending bills, and I bet you Mitch McConnell's name is among the 12 or 10 or 9 Republicans that voted with Democrats
Here's
every
the
time.
problem.
Go back and look
Here's
at
the
it.
problem. Here's the problem. Mitch McConnell prevented Obama from rightfully appointing a Supreme Court justice. Mitch McConnell prevented Trump from being impeached, which a lot of folks on the left believes Trump deserved to be impeached. We're never going to accept Mitch McConnell as a Democrat. You can talk about spending all you want. He prevented us from appointing somebody to the Supreme Court and prevented us from getting rid of Trump. You're not
But
going to see folks on the
why did
left.
McConnell do that? Why did he prevent a Supreme Court from going to the Supreme Court? Because the Democrats did that to Bush. So that's their own fault.
Wait
That's
a
their
minute,
own fault.
but why would Mitch McConnell return the favor of something done to Bush if he's a Democrat, as you're suggesting?
I said he's a modern Democrat because
He
he
ain't
has to
even
make up
moderate.
appearances. He has to make up appearances. He doesn't any
You
spending
don't do
bill
that.
because Republicans are a small government. They're supposed to be small government, which means you cut spending, right? He has not.
Okay.
I have not seen him in the last decade or maybe even the last 20 years look at a spending bill and say, you know what? Nah, I'm not gonna say no to that. He's been saying yes, and he gets 12 or 9 or 10 or 11 or whatever the numbers needed to get it over the hump. He'll get those Republicans to say, yeah, we'll sign on to the spending as long as you give us X, Y, and Z when we want to spend on this stuff over here and this stuff over here. He got his hand in the cookie
Well,
jar.
as long as we have George W. Bush out there getting involved in a 20-year war that cost us, I believe, $6 trillion, I will never entertain that Republicans are not big spenders also. They just spend money on different shit. But both
Okay,
sides of the
that
aisle
is true.
spend. It's
I
just
agree
they
with you
pick it.
100%. I agree with
Yeah.
you 100% because Republicans run as libertarians, but govern as spenders too.
Yeah.
That's why we're trillions in debt right now. We're going to fall like Rome did because Rome spent themselves into oblivion too. That's why Rome fell. They didn't fall from some surprise enemy. It was their debt. And where our debt is growing and growing and growing. And we're not doing
I
anything
agree
about
with
it.
that.
We're not
Farlow,
doing anything about
you've been a really good conversationalist, man. I do got to move it on, but yeah, you've been a
it.
really
Okay.
good talk, man.
I appreciate
Anytime.
you. I love your show.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate that. Thank you. Come on back through anytime. Okay. As I state always, this is a MAGA friendly program. I do not ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. If this is the shit you like doing, you like talking about this type of thing, I implore you to follow the channel, follow the broadcast. It helps out your boys' algorithms. Appreciate the 30,000 likes. This is what we do. No banning, no blocking, no censorship. The fact that you may disagree with the host never means a damn thing. However, this is a lunch break live, and like many of you, I have to pull myself up by my bootstraps. I have to go back to work. So, got to terminate the live as we normally do around this time. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I'll catch you on the next one.